Blessed be the name of God. Our gospel reading from John this morning is the beginning of Jesus' farewell discourse, which goes on for several chapters. Now, farewell discourse sounds a bit churchy, perhaps even boring, but I'd like to suggest that most of us give farewell discourses fairly often. In fact, nearly every time I travel somewhere without my wife, I give a farewell discourse to her. Often, I seem to forget that she knows a lot about me and what I do and what to do, and truth be known, she actually knows how to manage things pretty well without me. She is a competent, capable, dependable, and responsible person who gets things done when they need to get done, and yes, even the things I believe that she absolutely needs to remember to do while I'm away. Jesus seems to feel much like I do when I'm leaving. His words read almost as if he fears his disciples will not be able to recall anything that they have all done together. He wants to say it all again, but it will literally take years. So he tells them simply enough: keep my commandments, keep my words, do what I have done. Just remember to love each other, love your neighbor, and most difficult, I know, love your enemy. The question Jesus is asking without saying it is, can my friends and followers love this much? Will they remember to have the courage to do this love thing? When Jesus is no longer there in the flesh, will they be able to love this much? The truth is that it would have been natural for Jesus' disciples to retreat to that upper room, to close themselves off from the rest of the world, to withdraw and to share nostalgic stories about how things used to be. It would be safer, in fact, to keep a lid on the whole rather sordid mess by not including anyone who wasn't part of this movement from the beginning. They could reassure each other that they were keeping his command by loving each other really, really well. Pulling together, closing ranks, and taking care of just those they already know would be good enough. In fact, doing only this will be hard to do. Give a good pat on our collective backs and be done with it. We kept his commandments well, didn't we? Jesus is reminding them so that this very withdrawal won't happen. He encourages and challenges them to go out into their world and to do the work of being in relationship, of sharing the good news of God's very real love for all creation. He means for them to let go of their fear, to move boldly into life, to risk offering themselves in relationship with any and all others. He means for them to be in community with people who are like them and with people who are not like them. He means for them to continue to do what he's been doing, even though he will no longer be with them physically. Barbara Brown Taylor, Episcopal priest and writer and college professor, tells this story about how she often will drive a van loaded with students to various college events. She has often heard one student ask another, "Are you a Christian?" And when the answer is yes, the follow-up question is more often than not, "What do you believe?" She's waiting for the day when the follow-up question is, "You're a Christian? What do you do?" What a provocative idea. To claim to be a Christian is to claim some kind of definable behavior. It will mean that the person who openly wears this label does life very differently than the person who does not lay claim to this label. Now, it might be easy to make the assumption that this doing is about making nice, about smiling at random folks that we encounter, about saying please and thank you, about stuffing a critical thought or comment. All of that may be, in fact, true, but it will not be getting to the heart of what a follower of Jesus must do. Living out the heart of the gospel message will mean offering ourselves in unconditional love to another. Offering unconditional love to people we don't like, to people who don't like us, and to people whom we'd rather judge than love. Living out the gospel message will not mean loving when people do things our way, when they look and walk and talk and dress and eat and pray and worship just like we do. Loving each other as Jesus loved will not be easy, and we each may need to spend more than a little time taking stock of our prejudices, our fears, our angry responses, our secret places of unhealthy and painful unhappiness. Becoming and being a Christian will, in the end, be about what we do, because being in relationship with Jesus does not depend on his physical presence, as his followers would soon discover, but on the presence of the love of God. And the love of God is made present when we keep Jesus' commandments. Mary Oliver writes about the power of love to reorient our lives in her poem entitled West Wind, which I will end with this morning. You are young, so you know everything. You leap into the boat and begin rowing. But listen to me. Without fanfare, without embarrassment, without any doubt, I talk directly to your soul. Listen to me. Lift the oars from the water. Let your arms rest, and your heart, and the heart's little intelligence, and listen to me. There is life without love. It's not worth a bent penny or a scuffed shoe. It's not worth the body of a dead dog 9 days unburied. When you hear a mile away and still out of sight the churn of the water as it begins to swirl and roil, fretting around the sharp rocks, when you hear that unmistakable pounding, when you feel the mist on your mouth and sense ahead the embattlement, the long falls plunging and steaming, then row for your life toward it. Take your first steps today, my brothers and sisters. Get in the boat and row. Trust in the love which is present and waiting for you in God, who loves you with the fierce tenderness of a father, mother, lover, and friend, who won't leave you orphaned. God loves you without condition, in a world filled with conditions. Let us together live our life with and in love. And the people say,